I am going to welcome our amazing Will Kelly. He is our team leader at our Horsham office, and he's at the
Amazing.
beach. Oh my gosh, I want to be there. And we have Dave Guido. Dave, I am so grateful. Dave
Thanks
is
for
a
having me.
mega agent, and I'm actually going to let them introduce. You
Thank
have
you.
15
Sure. I don't know
minutes,
about
guys.
amazing. We'll say Dapper Dave Guido. He changed his name. I like that. Got to adopt a name. So I am Will Kelly, for anybody that doesn't know, team leader of Keller Williams in Horsham. Dave is one of my ALC members, one of our mega agents. He probably would have won the single agent award in the office last year, but he added an agent to his team late in the year. So that actually went to Tara Garrison, who on my screen is on the other side, who was our #1 single agent in only her, I think, second full year in the business. Before that, she was staying home with her children. They went off to school, and now she decided to crush real estate. So I'm glad
Awesome.
Tara joined us as well. To talk about a couple things, I think, you should really understand where I come from. I was in production, had mega agent status, horrible with money, horrible with time, horrible with follow-up, horrible with relationships, horrible with everything, but somehow continued to do well in this business. And so eventually I shut my business down for personal reasons in the middle of a year. I'm $6 million in June. Had to do with a school shooting my sister was involved in. She survived and my niece survived, but it just made me really reflect and look at what I could do differently. And so team leader came into my world through an associate. And it's all relationship based and it's all sphere based. And one of the reasons I asked Dave, I could have asked a lot of agents I get to work with to come on here, but I asked Dave specifically because Dave does his business differently than everyone else. And I don't want to tell you about it because I'm going to have him tell you about it. But Dave is very sphere based. He does not run ads. He is not out there trying to do this marketing or things like that. He's very prospecting based, but in his very own personal way. And it matches up to his identity so well. Everybody on this call could have his same kind of success if you already don't. One of the things I think Dave is great at is education. And I have this quote that I have on my screen to make sure I hit on is education is the way to completely transform what your opportunities look like. I think Dave is exactly that person. And that's why I asked him. He doesn't compare himself to anyone else, kind of like I don't as a team leader. And I think one of the things he and I share is we're always talking and comparing ourselves to our previous version. What were we like before? How did he get to 200, then to 250,000 GCI? How is he at a point where leads are rolling in, quote unquote, we joke about it, on an assembly line, where literally he's texting me day in and day out. Oh, well, he's laughing because he put that on our team call yesterday for the market center. But there are so many ways that you can do this business, and I think we automatically default to money. And if you ever get a chance to listen to some Michael Lewis podcast, there's a quote that came from his old baseball coach when he was a kid, Billy Fitzgerald, that says, people are always doing what money can buy rather than what duty demands. And I think it's if you can just think about that, people are doing what money can buy rather than duty demands. I've received 6 texts this week that says there are great agents in my area that can help me sell my home, from a property management company employee. It literally says that. To then I start texting back and forth. And the agents' names they give me are KW agents. I would personally never use somebody that came and marketed like that to me. But I would use somebody like Dave, or I would use somebody like Tara. So Dave, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about where you are, what you have going on right now, the numbers you were sharing with me yesterday and the day before, and bring them up to speed on what makes you such an awesome, Mr. Awesome is what we call. He's teaching a class.
I'm Dave. I'm from Horsham, obviously. Yeah, so, I mean, I know everything's been tough with, pandemic and everything that's going on, but, everybody would ask me, like, how do I get my business? And I really didn't even know. I said, I don't know, because I don't buy leads. I don't buy Zillow leads. I don't have anybody call. I don't call ever. What I do, I guess, and again, like, Will pushed me a little bit harder and kind of realized, because he says I'm more a good people person, not people person, but
yeah, absolutely.
relationship. So,
for sure.
like, I actually like people. So, I mean, I'll call people, and I know Bold's big on asking for business, but I never really ask for business. I just, if anybody needs me, and I'm lucky because I did mortgages for 10 years. I do rehab houses. I do, Will doesn't like it, but I do get myself involved in rental. So I feel like I know the aspect of every different, I guess, that you can in real estate. So even before this, but, even when this happened, I kept, like, and I was here, I was doing more mortgages in 2006, 2007. And I remember panicking, not being able to sleep. So when all this stuff happened, I almost had in my head, because every 10 to 12 years, there's like a recession anyway. So I figured there was something coming. So when it came, I mean, it wasn't what we expected, but obviously that's what usually happens when this kind of like recession happens. It's not what you're expecting. So, I mean, I kept calm. I used to be office mates with Brian Collins, and we would push each other, but he has a lot of other stuff. But we have a real close office. So, I mean, me and Justin, who's a new agent, we kind of pushed each other from the beginning, because he called me and said, you seem real motivated, you seem real positive. So me and him, we joke around, we text each other, who's doing better, who has more leads today. But I mean, I tried to stay as positive as I could during that whole thing, and try to keep, and I know everybody's heard it, but it's not, I guess sometimes it's easier said than done. But I mean, I always like calling people anyway. I'll stop by. I won't ask for business. Like, I used to stop by my old financial advisors I used to work for. I'll just stop by and I won't ask, are you looking to buy or sell a house? Like, I rarely say that ever. I mean, I know it's a big bold thing, and I'm not saying don't do it. It's just something I don't do. I go, like, I try to help when everybody calls me if they need like any kind of contractors. Some people keep their contractors or electricians or plumbers close to the vest. As soon as I see somebody on Facebook, because I am big on social media, like, and I try not to be too just, again, and I hate to keep saying this, but me and Will went and saw this guy, Tony Giordano, and he said, every realtor is putting up sold. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's something I don't do as much. I do put stuff on certain times, but I don't crush people with, I'm a realtor, I just sold a house, I just bought a house. So, I mean, and he did the same thing. And he's he was on $1 million listing. He's out in Beverly Hills. And he just said, he pretty much put what, people want to see real people. They want to see what they're doing every day. They want to see what they're interested in. And this way, to me, that's how you connect with people, because I don't know if somebody likes basketball or somebody likes, fishing or whatever. So I try to connect. I mean, obviously it's not going to work every single time, but I mean, I try to show what I'm interested in so I can connect with other people. So, I mean, going into the end of this, again, me, Will, and we've been talking, and I've had a bunch of buyers lined up. Some people were, I got a couple under contract during the pandemic, but a lot of people wanted to wait. So, I mean, once it opened up, it went kind of crazy. I sold a few listings, but hopefully in the next 2 months, I have like 3 to 4 million closing. So I have about 3 million under contract, and 2 of them have to find $500,000 houses. So, I mean, I should be around 4, but we'll see. So, I mean, that's during the pandemic. I didn't panic. I didn't buy any leads. I did hire somebody to call for me. That was the first time. So I bought some leads. I did some for sale by owners. So I did get an ISA to start making some phone calls so I could try to pick up more listings.
And that's just started in the last, 4 weeks, last 3 weeks. So Dave is now,
trying to have time to get to those. Honestly, those are usually the ones I'll deal with last, like, because I'll deal with whoever refers me stuff. I'll deal with them first. So sometimes I don't call those back, but I still wanted to, just because listings are so scarce right now, I want to make sure I have that system going. So when it does get slower, I at least can have listings to offer.
Well, and Dave, so tell them a little bit about when you and I first met, what I challenged you to do with the database. Let's start there, because it was Command. Dave had to shift over to Command just like we all did on this phone. So what was the first thing that you did database-wise?
So I've had my phone forever. So, and maybe I'm lucky. I don't know how everybody else's works, but we went in there. I went into Will's office. We looked at how many contacts I had on my phone. It was like 6,000 or 7,000, just numbers, or somewhere around there, right?
Something to that effect, yeah.
So anyway, I switched him over. His thing was get as many contacts in your database as you possibly can and clean them up. And it's definitely not my strong point. Anybody that knows me, I'm all over the place. I can't sit still. So, but I made sure I did it for an hour to a day. I switched them all over. I kind of tried to clean them up. I mean, some of them were junk, but I got them set up on an email, auto email, and like I said, that's helped too. Because even if like I don't directly. And I'm sure, and again, I know Keller Williams teaches this, but even if I don't get somebody saying, oh, I want to buy a house, I just feel like with social media that I'm in front of people a lot. So, and it seems like, and I'll just like get stuff I wouldn't even expect. Like some girl woman I grew up with, and I didn't think she was a huge fan of me, but she just texted me the other day, said somebody was looking, and she referred me over, a house in Philly, or it's a buyer in Philly. But I mean, I'm surprised sometimes, and I don't even. But she's probably on my email, I guess. I'm friends with her on social media. I don't know, but I was pretty surprised. But
well, and everybody wants to hear what people are reading. Everybody wants to hear what people are looking to. Dave, why don't you give them a little bit about personally what you read and what you do and what you kind of, I think this is something super unique to you that is why you connect so well with people.
What about philosophy stuff you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because my brain goes very fast. So I'm always whatever. So I'm like, I kept on hearing about stoicism, which is big in the NFL. It's big. It's Ryan Holiday. He's like the current guy, but I mean, I'm big on meditations, and it's not meditations like you're meditating. It's just a book by this guy, Marcus Aurelius. And there's another, but the reason I like it is because it pushes, you can only control what's you can only control what you can control. You can't control the pandemic. You can't control, riding. You can't control, and you just have to be the best version of yourself. You can't get too upset about all that outside stuff, because what's it going to do anyway? I mean, not saying you shouldn't worry about it, but worry about it on your own personal level and try to make yourself the best possible person.
And I think, we all know, we've heard it before, that people do business with people they like, right? And you just heard Dave say that somebody referred him business. He didn't really know that girl was even a fan of his, which is saying he didn't really know that girl even liked him. And I think that's one of Dave's strengths, is that he's very transparent, because he's okay with who he is. And I think we go in a lot of time in this business under false pretenses because we read a book or we went to an online training, we heard you're supposed to door knock, rather than align yourself with who you are and understand your identity. Tara can tell you this, I push in our market center to be who you are supposed to be. Jason Abrams said, you guys all saw him on the calls, but he said something over a year ago that stuck with me. It's in the absence of a strategy, all tactics sound like a good idea. And if you don't know your why, and if you're not like Dave and you don't understand why, how you're going to move forward and how you're going to evolve, I don't think you're going to get there. You're going to continue to hit ceilings and move back and forward, rather than break through. And Dave has had an amazing breakthrough. I think your most that you ever did was 6 million, 6.5 before we met, somewhere right there. And this year he's probably going to do 15 to 20 in a pandemic, right? Honestly, it's not me, it's him. And Tara's another one who as well. And I wish we had twice as much time on this call. I know you guys keep it tight, but everybody in our market center knows we're the greatest market center on earth. We don't just say that. We pride ourselves on being connected to one another and being who we are. And does it make for problems sometimes? Yeah, we maybe not grow as much as some other people, but we're not comparing ourselves to other people. We're trying to be better versions of ourselves today than we were yesterday. And I think that's why most of the people are on this call. That's why you showed up. You want to get better. So the tools are there. You've got leadership here. We've got coaching leadership within our KPG companies that is running this. This isn't happening anywhere else. If you spread this word, you give it to other people. If you come from service, your world will grow. That's where I am. To me, in 2+ years of being a team leader and being with Keller Williams, my life and who I am is somebody completely differently. It affects my family, my friends, the agents I get to be in business with. Just be yourself and get to that. If you don't know why you do it, and if you don't have a strategy, that's why door knocking sounds good. That's why just sold postcards sound good. That's why buying an auto dialer sounds good. But if you can find out why, it allows you to say no. I'm not going to do that because that doesn't line up. I got a phone call the other day, driving the car with my kids, from somebody from the garment industry that wanted me to get out of real estate and take over a sales team for $250,000 a year. And with my kids on auto, I said, listen, I can't do that. And he said, what? And I said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It has nothing to do with money, right? And I don't make $250,000 a year as team leader. In case anybody here ever wants to be a team leader, call me first. But I could say no, because my strategy and my why is very, very clear to me. Dave's strategy and why, he didn't talk about his daughter Audrina, but it is very clear to him. Tara Garrison knows what she and her husband want to do for their community. You have to get there to have massive growth.
What would you recommend that everybody do during the next 10 to 15 minutes in their role play to maybe practice or try to work on what both of you and Dapper Dave just talked about?
Dapper Dave. To me, what I recommend you do is, when you want to role play, is have real conversations, right? Be vulnerable. Honestly, be vulnerable. Whoever you get put in a breakout room with, think of the question that will get you the results of what you're looking for. Too many of us want to act like these are the 5 questions when we really want to ask something else and we hold back. Don't hold back. If you get put in there with somebody who you don't like, ask them questions to figure out why you don't like them. Don't ask them questions to figure out anything about themselves. It's really all internal. And I think the better questions you ask, the better you will be. So in there, that's how I would role play. Whoever you get stuck with, find out the worst details, the dirtiest part of their life. I just called a past client the other night and just had a conversation. I love her to death. And it wound up with 3 referrals just because I was checking in on her, because I have another client that was thinking about moving back to the area because they live in Jersey City and they haven't left their apartment building in 2.5 months. right? So if you're willing to have conversations with the people you really care about and understand them, and the final part to that, when I said to her, is, hey, how's your brother doing in Maryland? And she said, oh, I forgot to tell you, he's moving back up here in August. He's going to be calling you. And I said, oh, what about your parents? They're selling their house. They're going to buy a house together. I was like, 1, 2, okay, 3, I'll do it. And now I have a referral going to Georges County in Maryland. So there's a lot to our business that we take for granted. It's because we don't want to look at ourselves in the mirror and be who we want to be. We think we want to compare ourselves to those people that put on lists about being great agents and units. You know, Tim Heil had a great quote the other day about that until he finally realized it wasn't about all that and it was just about him and his family, he was continuing to burn himself out. I think that's what we do. So be yourself.